You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast, and of course, by our friends over at the Glebe Central Pub. The Glebe Central Pub is your neighborhood pub in the heart of the Glebe. Great food, great drinks, and great service. If you're there at 779 Bank Street, let them know that the Locked On Senators podcast sent you. I'm Brandon Pillar, joined by Laleem's Martian at Laleem's Martian. Following a 3-2 overtime loss to the Carolina Hurricanes on the road, this was a game that the Ottawa Senators, they had their work cut out for them. Two new reinforcements brought up from Belleville for this game. Martian Igor Sokolov, friend of the show, and possible goalie of the future, Levi Merilainen. Both good efforts, but not quite enough to get the job done here as the Hurricanes ultimately get the best of the Sens in a wild reffed game. Martian, what are your overall thoughts after this overtime loss?
A bit of a disappointing finish there, Pilsy, but I mean, they pushed really hard, and you just mentioned the refereeing. They got in the Sens' way a little bit too here tonight. So, overall disappointing finish, but I like the effort, and the two young guys look really good, especially Merilainen. I feel like Sokolov looked improved, but Merilainen had just a really nice debut, and it was nice to see for him. Darn shame that we couldn't get that win, Pilsy.
I know it would have been nice to get that win, as he would have joined many other goalies this season with their first NHL start of the year, and some of them of their career getting big wins, but just couldn't happen as Martin Necas. My God, I did not realize how good of a player he was. He showed that tonight, not only with the game winner, but throughout the game. But Martian, while we're talking about Merilainen, let's get to the start of this game where I thought it was going to be a good game for Merilainen right from the start, because similar to Dylan Ferguson's start, he gets a couple quick shots right away, makes a couple good saves, and as our friend Pete Fry, the goalie mindset guy, would say, he looked dialed in, and I thought Merilainen did look dialed in. Unfortunately, with less than 2 minutes into the game, the Carolina Hurricanes open the scoring here, but I wouldn't say that that's any fault of Levy here, as the former Sen, Stefan Nason, gets the rebound, banks it off the boards, a nice pass, and Brady Shea one-timer from the point. That's tipped by Kotkaniemi out front. Not much chance for a young goalie there with a quick tip play, Martian?
No, and you said, he got those first few saves in there early, and that's exactly the kind of start you want for him. But that goal, Pillsy, you can't blame him at all. I mean, Kotkaniemi's standing 2 feet in front of him, and he gets his stick on that, and it just goes the other way and finds its way to the back of the net. So definitely not going to give him blame on that one at all. And I mean, 2 minutes into his career, welcome to the show moment right there for him, right?
I know the Pillsy mush. I had the shutout bet at FanDuel,
That
and
lasted long.
it didn't even last 2 minutes. But were you sitting there, Martian, and are you thinking, okay, he had a couple good saves, but a goal gets let in right away, that's going to kill this kid's confidence? Or what was your vibe around Levy for the first little while after that goal?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, I had to worry about that a little bit, right? Like, you never know how anyone's going to react to that. We've seen him at times, like in the World Juniors and other kind of pressure situations.
Yeah.
He has been pulled before. Like I know he's coming off a nice shutout in the AHL and a really nice season in Finland over there, but you never know, Pillsy, right? Because like you get a quick one and you get out of your head a little bit and it can go south pretty quickly for a 20-year-old goalie.
Yeah, I thought he still was able to keep some poise there, as not long after, Burns makes that great move to get through Brandstrom, and then a pass right out front, and Levi Merilainen has to be there for a big save, and that's just moments later. And I thought what Levy did really well in this game is he reads the play. Like, not too often were those cross ice, cross crease passes by the Hurricanes, they didn't have him kind of surprised and out of position. He's able to read the play, glide over nicely, stay square to the shooter, and make a good save. And not only make a good save, but I thought his rebound control on those big saves was pretty good as well. So only letting in 3 goals and taking it all the way to overtime versus the Carolina Hurricanes, pretty decent for the young Tendy.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree 100% with what you just said about the rebound control. Because, yeah, I felt like he was really tracking the puck well. There was a few moments where maybe he got lucky and just kind of sat in front of him and the whistle did end up blowing. But overall, yeah, you're 100% right. He was pretty locked in.
Locked in Levy, you love to see it. And Let's get to part of the reffing here. And Martian, I want to get your opinion on this one because Patty Brown is knocked down by, I think it's Shane Gottsesbear. And as he's knocked down, when he falls and hits the ice, his stick kind of pops up and bounces on him a little. And it catches Gottsesbear in the face and he's bleeding. I mean, on face value, high sticking, bleeding player, double minor penalty. That's as easy as it is. But they do end up reviewing this one, but ultimately it does stand as a double minor. What were your thoughts on that? Were you thinking, okay, maybe this will get called back, or are you thinking, no, that's clearly a double minor?
I mean, you have to be in control of your own stick, and the only time I think it's allowable to actually, hit another player in the face with your stick is when it's on the follow through of one of your own shots, and that just wasn't the case here. As accidental as it was, though, Pillsy, because he was falling, and it
Yeah.
was completely an accident. Like, he's not like he was, trying to take the puck and just missed and hit him in the face. He was just falling, and his stick was going that way, and it just worked out kind of poorly that someone's face happened to be right in the path of his stick as he's falling down.
Who put that face there? That's probably what Patty Brown is wondering. But I'm the same with you, Martian. Like right away, I was like, that sucks. But ultimately, you are always responsible for your own stick, no matter what happens. And when you catch a guy like that right around the puck, the ref's going to see that. Double minor it is. And unfortunately, that one ends up being a big one. But before the Hurricanes score on that one, Natchez, another great one timer, and Levy, he's just slides over. Nice catch, ho hum, not a big deal, good save, and I thought that was another one of his poised saves. But then the loose puck goes to Brady Shea. He had a really good night, in my opinion, and he just kind of slides over to the circle, and it's I don't want to call it a muffin shot, Martian, but it's not a laser by any means. That's one of those where the accuracy is more important than the power and getting it off at the right time because he waits and waits. There's a nice screen in front, and then he just kind of floats it in past Levy. And when you see that shot, you'd like to say, okay, a slow shot like that, you'd like to get a piece of, but there's so much chaos and traffic in front on the power play. I'm not blaming that one on Levy.
Pillsy, I don't know if you saw. I posted a great angle of that goal on my Twitter, and it actually did deflect as well. That
Oh, it
shot.
does
That's
deflect.
why it looked
Okay.
like the man who was covered in the point, it went off his pants, so it was heading straight kind of towards Levy, and then it took a right turn and went
Makes
towards that
sense.
far post instead. But me and that screen in front, like he can't see anything to begin with. Uh, the only way he would have stopped that is if it hit him, because yeah, like you said, he was kind of peeking over this way, and then it ended up going the other way on him. So it was just bad luck, and another one that you definitely can't blame Levy Marilainen for that one either.
No,
And especially
especially.
it's at the end of a 4 minute kill, basically, right? It's like
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it was a big kill, and Levy was really good on that. And yeah, I hadn't realized it deflected, but now we get to another instance where the refs played a big role in this one. And Ross tweeted out from @SenCentral on Twitter the weirdest goal review challenge I've ever seen. They're challenging, and the refs do a good job of this. When there's a challenge, they do a very clear explanation. What is the coach challenging on the play? And the ref says the challenge is for a missed stoppage on a high stick. And right away, I'm thinking, what? Like, when did this happen?
so DJ even had the exact timestamp that it happened. He
Oh,
told
I
the
didn't realize
referee,
that.
he
Okay.
goes, it was at 4:41 because he must have had his guy in his ear telling him
Yep.
exactly when it happened, so he could articulate that to the ref to actually get the challenge done properly. Because you're right, I think he needs to establish what exactly he's challenging for,
Yep.
and so yeah, he actually called out the time and everything, and obviously, I mean, to me, upon review watching it, I'm like, oh, this one's going to come back if they actually deem it to be a high stick, where he made contact with the puck. Because to me, there was no denying that he had touched the puck. It was spinning a certain way and it was moving in a certain direction. And it wasn't it wasn't a huge deflection, but he definitely got a piece of it. So I thought you could pretty clearly see that on the slow motion replay, especially from that one angle from the far side boards coming down.
Yep.
But they ended up calling it a goal anyway. So I don't know. I really don't know why. Maybe they just decided, he didn't touch it, even though, like, I mean, just as a regular person with eyes watching that, like, you can kind of see that he did touch it. So maybe they just didn't think the stick was high enough or something. You never know what the explanation actually could be there, but I don't like it.
Yeah, as it got further and further into review, I was kind of sitting there and being like, okay, maybe there's a chance this is going to get called back. But the thing is, and this is what I always keep in mind, it was called a goal on the ice. So unless there's 100% clear, definitive proof that whatever takes the goal back, they're sure on it, you can't overturn it. You can't disallow that goal. And yes, I agree with you. Anyone can assume and come to the conclusion that that puck was tipped. But just with the way the camera access is, it's hard to see the puck going behind the blade of the stick. And I think the issue there is there was no point where 100% you could say, okay, there it is, that it hits the stick, because it could be a couple inches off. The puck is already fluttering a little bit. So I thought he touched it. It seemed that way. But I think in Toronto, they're saying we can't fully pinpoint exactly where the stick hits the puck.
Yeah, see, that's the thing I don't understand, because they should have access to all the cameras in the building to be able to make the right call, and it's not the refs just looking at it on the iPad in the bench, in the penalty box, trying to determine it themselves. They've got a whole team of people up there who are reviewing this, and I don't know how they miss it. We got to call a spade a spade. It was another just blown call. It was pretty blatant. Very slight, but they got to be able to catch that with today's modern technology, right? Like, come on. Otherwise,
Yeah.
why are we even reviewing anything if you can't see that?
You would think they would have the angle, but again, I'm not saying he didn't touch it. So if people in the chat are pissed at me, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm explaining the fact that I think they probably couldn't fully say that they did it, and from that stance, you have to allow the goal. So it's unfortunate, but that makes it 2-0. And the real gut punch to this one, Martian, is, as we mentioned, it's a double minor penalty. They score on it with 14 seconds left. So the power play's over. Yeah, sonk. You get a failed challenge. The power play's right back at it. So that was a bit of a demoralizing sequence there. But in the end, it ends up being 2-0 for the Hurricanes after the first. I thought the Hurricanes really controlled pace of the play for that first period.
Yeah, I agree. For the most part, it felt like a home game for them, and they're pretty good on their home ice. And yeah, for sure, I feel like you're right. It was just kind of unfortunate the way that one ended up shaking out. It should have been maybe 1-0 going into the end of the first instead of two.
And then the Sens get a big momentum boost. Hey, we just killed off that double minor that we didn't like either. And if you want to know if the Sens thought that was an okay penalty, look at the replay of Patty Brown leaving the penalty box. He is giving that ref the death stare. Oh, man. And yeah, as Ryan B writes in here, well, with this loss, Sens go from 0.01% chance of playoffs to 0.001% chance. So you're telling me there's a chance, Ryan. That's what I'm hearing out of that. Yes, exactly, Ferg. So 2-0 Hurricanes here. And this goal by the Ottawa Senators, I thought it was a great job. Just a quick, simple hockey. Giroux dumps it in. Cat retrieves it. He curls around the corner, is waiting, sees Giroux coming in after he dumps it, and it's a backdoor tap, and it makes it 2-1. And that's Claude Giroux's 30th goal of the season. Martian, did you think Giroux was going to get to 30 goals this season?
No, I thought like maybe mid-20s would have been great. I
Yeah.
would have been very happy with that. But yeah, for him to hit 30 is a really nice accomplishment at this age, especially with this. It's only the second time he's ever done it in his career, too, Pilsy. So, that's a great milestone for him to hit. And he's the one actually too who made a great play along the far boards before DeBrincat ended up getting the puck to stop a play going the other way with
Yeah.
kind of a diving play. And yeah, that was a good play for him to kind of set himself up for the puck to go the other way and him ultimately getting that goal.
I think that's hockey karma, right, Martian? Like, you make a good, gutsy defensive play like that, and typically you're going to end up getting rewarded later on, even in that same shift. So, great job by Claude Giroux. What a legend! I'm so excited that he's an Ottawa Senator. It just feels good to have a guy like that here. And I thought really Greg had a couple really good opportunities here. I mean, speaking of Giroux, think him and Giroux are just such a good pair. Giroux feeds Greg in the neutral zone, and he gets past Burns and does a wide backhand deep, but Raanta makes the save there. And then just a little while later, Cat has a blocker shot. It's stopped, and Greg goes to the net. He's driving hard to the net, but we can't blame the refs on this one, Martian. That is an obvious kind of bats it in with his glove, and that goes in. And right away, the ref says no goal on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was just a bit of a brain fart by Ridley, or just a reactionary kind of thing where the puck's right in front of him and so is the net and it's open, so he just kind of bats it and hopes for the best. You would like to see him probably use his head a little bit and just try to use his stick if he could.
Yeah,
Um,
not literally use his head.
yeah, but the last thing we wanted too, Pillsy, was another high sticking review on this game. So, so
No
maybe it
kidding.
was a good thing just to get that over with and make it blatant. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's the better play there. I think for him, obviously, was that breakaway where he tried that big reach around move and just got robbed. But way she goes there, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So at this point, it's 2-1 for the Hurricanes. We're going to get to the rest of this game after a quick read and a little note from our friends over at the Glebe Central Pub. They are the Postcast sponsor. If you guys have been following along with the Postcast, all 121 of you in the chat, you already know about the Glebe Central Pub. They are located in the heart of the Glebe. Great food, great drinks, and the most important thing, in my opinion, great service. If you're there, say what up to Dave, the manager. All the servers are great. The bartenders, they'll get you your food and drinks when you need it, and they'll have a lot of fun doing it. We always have a blast when we go to the Glebe Central Pub. Martian, we're going to be going there again this weekend after the Tampa Bay game, hopefully celebrating an Ottawa Senators victory over the Tampa Bay Lightning. And there's only one place to do that. It's at the pub that is as much of a Sens fan as you are. They even arrange shuttles to bring Sens fans to the game for only $15. So check them out, 779 Bank Street. It's the Glebe Central Pub, the heart of the Glebe, your neighborhood friendly Sens pub. We're also brought to you by our friends over at Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. They have amazing flavors. I just found out today they're bringing back the Snickerdoodle Built Bar Puff. That is an unreal flavor. Sounds like a treat, doesn't it, Martian? But no, this is a protein
Sounds
bar.
tasty.
Yeah, and you don't just take my word for it. Don't just take Martian's word for it. Go to built.com, get yourself a mix box, and use our promo code LOCKEDON15 for 15% off your next order. We're sweetening the deal here. So go to built.com, promo code LOCKEDON15 for 15% off your next order. It's Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. All right, back to the game here. The Carolina Hurricanes up 2-1, and I think this is where the Ottawa Senators, I thought they had a nice second period. And in my notes, I've just got so many good Levy saves, like a huge one-timer save on Goss the Spare. And he's just able to make those big saves on those players. And Martian, once again, we've got to look to the refs here because Jake Sanderson this man simply does not take penalties. And I think he's only taken 4 all year. And one of them was on a high sticking penalty that was not his stick. And add this to the list, Martian. This was his 5th penalty. And this isn't his fault either. I'm pretty sure it's Martin Necas that lifts this puck out of play. And Sanderson knows it right away. Giroux knows it. The bench knows it. And they're furious. What do you do on this one though, Martian? Because I'm pretty sure this is a play that's not reviewable.
I don't know what the ref is doing. If he didn't see him actually flip it out on its own, then why is he making this call? And not only that, not only was it not him who flipped it out, the thing rode the glass all the way out as well. So it's like there's 2 reasons why that shouldn't have been a penalty to Jake Sanderson. I don't know what to say. I think it was pretty obvious. Everybody in the building knew it shouldn't have been a penalty. Everyone saw it on the jumbotron. Like, can the ref not just like look up and watch the replay and be like, "Oh crap, I screwed that up. Never mind, no penalty." It's like, remember the time Cale Makar waved off of, he said like, "Oh, I just fell on my own. He didn't trip me.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be a call." Like, how can that get reversed just by a conversation and not this when? DJ's just saying, dude, go look at it again, or trust me, we all just saw it on the jumbotron. Like, you're gonna look like an idiot if you make this call. But I guess once they blow it down, that's it.
Yeah. Unfortunate penalty there for Jake Sanderson. Luckily, though, it doesn't lead to anything, even though it ends up getting to, or that makes it a 5-on-3, a long one, a minute 50 that leads into the next period. But or I guess no, that does end up costing them, as that is the penalty that I'm all mixed up here. No, the Ottawa Senators get a power play after this. I have a power play goal in my notes here, so let's get to that. The third period, fast holding penalty, and this was a great play by Batherson to keep the puck on his stick in between a player's legs, feeds it over to Cat, and Cat head up. This guy is not a goal scorer. He is a hashtag disher, apparently, as he feeds Brady Tkachuk backdoor for a nice, easy goal, and that ties it up 2-2.
I'm really hoping you saying that has a reverse Stephen Holiday effect, where now
Yeah,
he's all of a sudden once again going to become a great goal scorer. But yeah, I mean, yeah, hell of a pass there. Nice little tic tac toe play. I think Stützle with the little curl move at the top of the blue line prior was actually, and he kind of like it was a tough angle pass over to Batherson. And then he makes that turn play to DeBrincat, and then all of a sudden it's a long range 2-on-1. Everyone's standing still, and it's kind of an easy play for them. And Tkachuk with those mitts in front of the net, he makes no mistake there and just deflects that thing top shelf. And so yeah, a great goal, nice little power play bounce back goal there. And now all of a sudden the game's tied up, Pilsy.
yeah, I was feeling good about it when they tied this game
Oh
up,
yeah,
Martian,
at this
because
point.
they got some momentum here. And I thought that the Ottawa Senators really won that third period as well. They get a couple good chances, and Levy keeps making saves right down the stretch. And that takes this one to overtime. And I thought overtime, the Ottawa Senators weren't really able to get anything going. Like it seemed like the Carolina Hurricanes dominated that one. And Levy was pretty lucky here because Martin Necas, he does a wraparound and completely fools him, but luckily he can't tuck it and it goes through the crease. But if I do have one knock on Levy, it's his wraparound reads and recovering and positioning on them
He
didn't
gets back pretty
exactly
quick
look great.
though. He does get
Yeah,
back. He gets back around pretty quick. But yeah, a little bit of a Craig Anderson
I
almost.
know, eh?
I,
That's what
I
came
don't
into
want to
my
say it,
mind.
but yeah. The way he plays them is very Anderson-esque, I think is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, which is unfortunate because that was almost a
It was
guaranteed goal on
kryptonite.
Craig Anderson. Yeah, wraparound goals. My God. But that doesn't lead to the goal. It's Seth Jarvis. This was a kid when it was his draft year. Ross and I were all over. He's an absolute stud, and he's turning into one for the Hurricanes. He charges into the zone. Brady and Sanderson are both the guys back. And what he does is he stops up, and both Brady and Sanderson just allow that play to settle, and they kind of wait for the next course of action or the next reaction to that. And what that does is that allows him to stop up, leave it there, and who else but Martin Necas? He blasts it top shelf, post and in. No chance for Levy on that one either. And I think that's one, Martian, where I mean, it happens so quick. It's easy to say on a replay and watching it back, but one of Brady or Jake needs to step up into the play there, right?
Yeah, maybe they just had a bit of miscommunication about who was going to go, and there was too
Yeah.
much hesitation, and then it just happened so fast. And he gets that to Nick Netjess, who's just absolutely flying into the zone there too. By the way, so like it seemed like everybody else was standing still, but it was almost like a bit. Jarvis pulled the almost that Alfredson move that he used to love to do every time he'd come into the zone. He'd cross the blue line, and he'd stop up and wait for his own players, and he'd hit someone with a great pass like that. That's when he's not the guy driving the net, that is. But yeah, I know. Yeah, it was a great play there, and it's tough to. That's the way it's got to end for Marilinen's debut, because it would have been really nice to see him get the W.
Yeah, and I think all the players, obviously, captain shit Brady leading by example. They go over to him and they say, "Hey, don't get too down about this loss. You played amazingly," and I would agree with that. So, 3-2 overtime loss to the Carolina Hurricanes. Martian, who is your Send Central standout?
I want to go with Alex DeBrincat. I thought
Nice.
his playmaking tonight. I guess I'll leave Marilyn for you. Goalie friendly showed. But yeah, for me it's Alex DeBrincat. The two assists. I know that only one was primary, even though the first goal he definitely was the main playmaker on that play. Ridley Gregg just got a stick on it on its way over to Giroux. So lucky assist there by Ridley Gregg to steal that second primary away from Alex DeBrincat. But I just thought he was buzzing out there tonight. He makes so many good plays, and he's been really hot lately too, right? He's been producing, and that's
Yeah.
what we brought him in for. And so I love to give him recognition when he's kind of doing his job, even if it's not the guy who's putting it in the back of the net. He still, he's making things happen out there for his teammates and driving offense, which is a big thing that we need to see from him, especially if he's going to end up getting a bigger contract. So, Alex DeBrincat, that's the standout.
Yeah, I like it. In his last 5 games, he has 3 goals and then now the 2 assists, so 5 points in his last 5 games. And yeah, I'm with Zachary. Pay the man. It's time. he can't be messing around with this anymore, because it seems like the longer this goes, the more he's kind of upping his next contract value, even if, like you mentioned, it's not by the way of goals, which is what we thought Alex DeBrincat would be doing here.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are gonna have a long off season with not many draft picks to talk about
I
Alex
know, yeah.
DeBrincat possible extensions, but I agree. Yeah, the sooner the better would probably be good.
Yeah, yeah. Although I'm sure it's one of those situations where while the season's going on, whether it's Cat or the agent or who has just said we're not going to do any contract
Yeah, at this point,
negotiations.
it's pretty rare you see guys signing at this point in the season. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of off season time, and they should get it done pretty quick. Hopefully, it's not one of those ones that ends up getting dragged into the training camp or anything, because I don't think that's the kind of thing that will do a player like DeBrincat any favors, anyways. So, best to just get it out of the way if you can.
Yep, I agree. Now, my Central standout has got to go to the goalie, Levy Marilina. I mean, like we've already mentioned, this loss was not on him at all. He gets 34 saves on 37 shots, and he makes a lot of really good saves up against a lot of really good players. Like, he stopped Natchez a bunch of times. I thought he had a couple good saves on Aho. Like, he was all over the place, and I love the way the Hurricanes do a really good job of moving the puck and getting it to one-timers on the flanks near the face-off dots. But that didn't mess Levy up at all. He was reading the plays. He slides over smoothly. He seems to be a really positionally sound goalie and
His puck
technically
handling's
sound.
good too, Pills.
Yeah, that's also
I thought
true.
I thought he's confident handling the puck, which is an interesting thing too. I like that.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to know if goalies play the puck a lot in the Finnish leagues, if that's kind of a big part of their game or not. But yes, Kara, we're back to being a goalie-friendly show tonight. We always are goalie-friendly, but we got to keep it real sometimes when they're bad. We got to call a spade here. Otherwise, we're just
I
clowning.
love Kara calling us out for that, because it was a bit of a Cam Talbot rip fest last postcast.
I mean, if it was
With Ross
anything,
especially, but
if it was anything else, then we got to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we're too big of goalie huggers here. Sometimes, rarely, but sometimes it is the goalie's fault. But this certainly was not. Oh, we got producer Ross on the call here, jumping in.
I'd just like to say I love goalies. See ya.
Okay, all right. If there ever was any doubt, Ross loves goalies and wants to see a Cam Talbot long-term extension.
I thought he was going to get on there and defend himself there and say he wasn't ripping Cam Talbot, but I think, yeah, anyways.
Yeah, that's what it is. What are your thoughts after this game, Martian? I mean, they get another point here. I think we were talking before. It would have been nice to get this win just so that you can kind of erase the stink of that overtime loss up against the Blue Jackets. But
Yeah.
can't
Yeah,
get it done.
it would have been, yeah, if you get this win, if you really wanted to, you could look at it and just pretend that you won the Columbus game, and then this one went to overtime and you lost in OT. If you get the 3 points out of the 4 in those 2 games, you can just fake it that way. But obviously, that's not the way it works. Yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's just a kind of a disappointing finish to, I think, a good push against a good opponent as well, especially when the team's as banged up as they are. For them to still have a lot of good fight in them is a nice sign going into next season. Even though this one's not quite completely done yet. But yeah, no. The overall thoughts were just that, and I just didn't like the officiating tonight. I usually don't complain. We don't talk about the refs.
Right? No, we don't do that. Nope.
But yeah, those are the kind of 2 things. It's like as soon as that stuff starts happening, it's already hard enough to play against the Hurricanes at home. But as soon as you're fighting the refs too, it's like, oh man, it's such an uphill battle. So it's not easy. It's not fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. But you got to tip your cap to these guys. It doesn't seem like they're just lying down and calling it quits here. I think the effort is good. Brady Tkachuk clearly not playing at 100% and still has a really good game, in my opinion, scoring the game-tying goal. And this is a Carolina Hurricanes team that just has so much depth. Like, they're able to just roll 4 lines. All 3 of their D pairs are really good. Both of their goalies are solid. They're well coached. Like, you're lucky to beat this team at the best of times with the healthiest of rosters. So I'm not too disappointed. It's just the end of this season is dwindling down in a way that really killed all the fun momentum we had in early March.
Yeah, and I think we just need to keep pointing out, the little things that are going to happen now going to the end. Like we're going to see a lot of these kids, and I thought, if we want, we can talk about Sokolov a little bit. I thought he looked better than his last stint with the big club. I still don't know if his skating is like great, but he looks.
It's
faster.
not a strong point, no,
He
definitely. But I think it's better.
Looks faster,
exactly.
And he just needs to get used to having that little bit less time. I think with the puck on his stick to get a shot off or make his chances work for him, but. I didn't think he was terrible or anything, that's for sure. A couple speed wobbles, maybe making those tight turns, but other than that, I mean, it's fun to see him up with the big club, I think, right? And then Marilainen and JBD and Clevin playing together, like it's kind of weird, right? And you got 6 2020 draft picks in the lineup. It's just kind of interesting times, I think, this end of this year. I wanted to take a look at some of the other guys in Belleville. Like I would love to see Crookshank get a chance. I feel like his story after last year with the breaking, when he broke his leg, right, or his ankle,
knee injury.
Oh, his knee, right? Sorry. So like that's just, that would be a cool story to see him come and play a game. But those are the kind of things we gotta look forward to, right? Like Timmy maybe hitting 40 and Giroux hitting 1,000 points. Those are kind of the storylines I'm looking at now to finish things off.
Yep, agreed. Igor Sokolov plays 7 minutes, 12 seconds in this one, so not as much ice time as you like. But when the Sens basically are killing a penalty for 6 straight minutes in this one, that you're not going to get much time for Igor Sokolov. Although it was nice to see him playing on that second power play unit where Claude Giroux and the kids took over. But you get 35 goals for Brady, 30 for Giroux, and a career high 38 assists for Alex DeBrincat. So some nice milestones and numbers overall in this one, even though it is a 3-2 loss to the Carolina Hurricanes. The Ottawa Senators' next game is up against the Florida Panthers. That was originally the last Mufasa game, but Mufasa has already fallen off the cliff, unfortunately, Martian. So that's mostly just a pride game and another Matthew versus Brady battle here. And then it's back home up against Tampa, where we will have boots on the ground. I'm stoked for that game, Martian. Stoked to get back into the city to see you.
Yeah, we're going to get a healthy dose of each other this week as well, Pilsy, because I'm back on the Postcast on Thursday. And then I'll be ready to run around town with you guys on Saturday afternoon and running right to the evening there and probably the wee hours of Sunday morning as well. I would imagine if it goes anything like our typical trips with you guys coming into town. So I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a great week. And we should mention too, actually never mind. I had a stat. I just forgot it.
All right, good thing we mentioned that. Hopefully you didn't get duped again like your Curtis Joseph was the e-bug for the Leafs game last Postcast.
I remembered it. This is
let's hear it.
No, it's the Sens' first time having 2 35 goal scorers with Timmy and Tkachuk now hitting 35 since Danny Heatley and Daniel Everson did it, I believe, in the 2006-2007 season. So that's a great look.
Yep, you love to see it, and you love to see more Sens hockey, as there's only a couple games left in the season here, so we're going to enjoy them as much as we can. And thank you to everyone, over 100 people in the chat today. We love all you guys. We are not doing a tankathon spin, not tonight. That's not the vibe. Yeah, Steve King writes, season lost because Pilsy went to Chicago. The season is on Pilsy. My bad, guys. My bad. I promise you. I will be boycotting Ottawa Senators versus Chicago Blackhawks games for quite some time now. I will not see another one. So we don't have to worry about that. That's 2 losses we can already turn into wins come next season. And next season is going to be exciting, but this one's not over yet. But thank you for joining myself, Brandon Pillar, at Lalim's Martian, the Martian, in another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, the Postcast edition, presented to you by the Glebe Central Pub and Built Bar. Thank you, guys. We'll have a new episode of the Locked On Senators podcast for you tomorrow with Ross to break down this one. Have a good night. It's the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.